Yeah, finalists.
At work I use a PC. So we had to get some
Chad, and somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, he went way bots.
Is that right? Oh, that's cool.
Oh, it's Jasmine. You're right. You're right.
No, it's not. Okay. Does it? We'll just say it doesn't matter that he's only walking.
Mostly all.
He just likes to strafe.
Shit.
Alright. She's down.
Can we get not going to be detected?
So I win by like.
Hit the Y button, see if it makes it. Y button. Okay. Oh, no, that map. That was the testing out in regards to your sound.
You can jump over.
Oh, the EarthCat submission you wanted to the draft.
Missing notes
And
all over.
did you want that to the Google Drive?
Shit.
Or did you have another submission method?
That actually, it's a good point. For that, you could just email it.
Oh, yeah.
Or Google. And share it.
Because I figured since that was already basically set up, I could share it. So.
Yeah.
Okay, but by midnight.
Their actions like a second. I'm like, oh, this is pretty.
Another way.
Ooh, can you see the
Jail.
Yo, can I see the camera?
Oh, yeah. Actually.
That?
So now the camera's on.
The shading on that is shit. Probably because there's really low
Yeah.
I just want to test this and make sure. Where should I hook up?
HDMI one is the big fat one.
Well, we have to go
And if you need any adapters to that, there's a file right there.
Okay. Something did not heal. Okay, well let's...
Oh, I have a thing that I should delete.
Oh yeah, it works. Okay, cool. We're good. That was the cool one. Thank you.
I think the way we can get around. How is that you detect that he was?
His call was probably turning things off.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I was thinking what you said. Is the crowd distance certain range?
Get that guard. Get him.
I think this is pretty accurate.
Okay, cool.
We're good.
Awesome.
Okay, let's go test it up front real quick.
That was some red light issues, but
It was a long one. Let's put it this way.
scared of the thing.
I don't plug in a power strip or a flash.
Hold on.
To be sure.
Yeah.
I mean, not for sure, for sure.
That's reassuring.
The less
Yes.
patches,
Do you
the
have
better.
an HDMI?
Yeah, so you need the HDMI, direct HDMI is here. And if you need anything to HDMI, I have DVI and I have the Apple Mini.
Oh my god, this got so much
So,
Go around this way.
and assorted other connectors that you probably won't need.
While we're doing the presentation.
It's my screen. So freaking out. Can't catch me. Seeing signals on fast. It's even ghost.
Too easy.
I think that's odd. I think that's
I feel like moving's working the first time.
Kitty! Raccoon, not a kitty. Still cute. Still
Wait,
cute.
die real quick and see if that happens again.
cool.
Just in case.
Yeah.
I love the little tail wiggle.
Whoa. What have I been doing?
Okay.
Yeah.
Might want to check your sound if you've got sound.
There it is.
There's
Yeah.
a, check the knob.
We don't actually have any sound.
Okay.
We have one sound.
like a
One
test
sound
sound.
guards, and then the guards come and check me
Alright.
out.
No way you're out sound.
Sweet.
Well,
Sugar boys.
We still have the minute
Oh, wait.
Wait, was it there? Play it again.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
it's
cool.
about time to get started, but we're still missing one of, or two of our mentors. So I'm probably gonna just stand here and kill time for a little bit. And then if they don't show up in about 5 minutes, we'll probably go ahead and get started because I'm streaming these again like I did with the initial pitches, so they'll be able to watch them. If they miss one, they'll be able to watch that one later. Like last time, I'm going to have you guys present in a randomized order, shuffling between games for each of the two clients. The order is going to be Create a Play, Klepto Cats, Riot of 1861, Siggy, The Show Must Be Played, and then Civil Journalism. Although it looks like not all the Create a Play people are here yet. Missing Tyler. So hopefully he shows up in before Vericado does. If not, I guess we'll jump to Kleptocats as the starting game.
We're calling it Bandit now.
Bandit? Ah, okay. That explains the raccoon instead of cat. Or maybe it fits with the raccoon instead of the cat.
I don't know if we could call it that.
Yeah, that sounds unfortunate. That would be potentially a bad idea.
Besides raccoons aren't
They still are.
Well, one more person, but still not Tyler. So I guess since I'm in time-killing mode, so what's going to happen today is each team will have 10 minutes to present your game and demo, or your prototype and demo it. I have handy little signs this time so that I will tell you when you have 2 minutes and 1 minute left. Since we have 6 teams, we've got a little bit of extra time, but since you also have to juggle cables and stuff, I don't want to, it won't work if one of you goes like way over. If you end up going too long, I might have to cut you off. So we are streaming this, and so our mentors should be here in person. We've got 2 of them here now. So we have Ben Walsh and Jonathan Moriarty, who are both from Pure Bang Games, and many of you may know Jonathan since he was a student here back in the day.
Some of you, but not many.
Some of you may know Jonathan. And then our other pair of mentors are Barry Caudill and Garth DeAngelis. And so they're both from Firaxis Games. I think in terms of who's who, Ben is the CEO, is that right, of Pure Bang. Jonathan is programmer, yes. Barry is director of gameplay development at Firaxis. And Garth DeAngelis is a producer on their XCOM, or was a producer on their XCOM game. So, and has apparently some design experience as well. In addition, our clients will at some point watch the video of this some point today. So that's Anne in the history class and the signature people. And so I'm going to collect together the thoughts from all of the mentors and all of the clients, and my experiences from what's been successful in previous semesters to decide which 2 games will go forward. So next on Monday's class, you'll get to find out which games are going forward and who will be on each of those teams. I've now killed 5 minutes. We still don't have Tyler and we still don't have Barry. So why don't we go ahead and have the Bandit team set up, so they will go first.
Okay. You're gonna do the fun.
I don't have to do the fun.
It's all good.
You wanna do the fun bit?
Sure. Then we also want consistent sound.
We don't really have sound.
Nice.
Sound should go straight through the HDMI.
Oh, okay. Should we go ahead or should we wait a couple more?
I think you should probably go ahead. Like I said, they can watch the videos to catch the one they missed.
All right, awesome. So we're working on Bandit, previously known as Kleptocats. I'm Paul. This is Savannah. This is JR. 2 artists and a programmer, and this is what we came up with during the last 2 weeks. Basically, we pitched for the Civil War project for that customer, and what they were looking for was something that could teach somebody about the Pratt Street riot. So we actually have authentically modeled sort of top-down blueprint of Baltimore City, specifically the railway that the soldiers had to cross during like this mob. So we've started to put together some different areas with notes that you can like learn about what's going on, what people are talking about, because this riot was a bunch of mobs coming together to kind of stop the soldiers from traveling through town.
Alright, so here's where we have, if you interact with the document, we'll eventually have it so in the pause menu you can learn a bit more about whatever that relevant document was, be it a letter from one general to another. We're going to interact with the history grad students and figure out what should go in there as the best content. We also have, go count the guards. So I implemented some of the AI for the guards. It's not fully working right now, but they'll respond to sound and they'll come chasing after me. And then they'll also respond to seeing you, although I think the animation might be interrupting that a little. But if you run into them or they run into you, you should go to Raccoon Jail, which is not happening for some reason. There we go. It's just a little delayed. So the objective of the game is going to be able to find maybe 3 documents, maybe some other objectives, while avoiding the guards. And we implemented a few of the lose conditions with different like food systems, but we ended up not getting them working well enough to find the fun in them, so we ended up skipping that.
The main thing about this game is like the stealth aspect of it. Like we said, we had like a recent like huge breakthrough with the AI in Unreal, which is previously a huge challenge. But yeah, the AI is going to be a big part of it. Like trying to trying to avoid the AI once it's working. But also everything pretty much like we were saying earlier is historically accurate to the time period. Like this is actually what Baltimore looked like. Like we modeled it straight off the map. And the guns that you see that you're gonna be able to like steal, those are actually Union soldier guns that are accurate to the time as well. Like that's the harbor right there. So. Oh yeah. Actually, the reason we changed it was originally cats, Kleptocats. We changed it to a raccoon because after doing some research, we learned that it was actually not uncommon for soldiers to keep strange animals such as raccoons for pets. So we thought it would be more interesting if it were a raccoon instead of a cat that you played as. And it's going to be a more linear type of gameplay. In the end, right now it's just kind of like everything's kind of in place and the AI is there and everything. But there's going to be more like learning as you go along through the game type stuff instead of just kind of running around. Is there anything to
I don't think so. I think.
No, I think we've covered all the things we managed to accomplish. We got the mini map working, but that's pretty
Oh, yeah.
self-evident. So
That's pretty
I was
good.
happy that was working.
So what do you think would be necessary to complete this game in terms of resources? How much of the game do you think you'd be able to get done in the time that would be left in this class? So basically, 3 more 2-week sprints.
I think it'd be like all of it done, honestly. I mean, art assets wouldn't be a problem by any means. These are just like the beginnings / temporary art assets, so it'll be much more developed.
We can definitely iterate on the AI routines a little better, so they're not just going out a few thousand Unreal units and then coming back, because that was just me getting something working. We can have them doing little spline passes that are going through the nav mesh. They can have them have more crowds interact. We can get like different programmers to involve some aggro events where like the guards are responding to the crowds and not just to us. We had talked about having some things hidden in trash cans, or having like a food system like I talked about before, so we could have programmers and artists implement that. And then we don't have a win and loss condition in place as of right now, so that'd be another thing we should be able to accomplish, and that should cover a lot of what's reasonable inside that time frame.
Did you find? I know you only had time to do a certain amount of stuff, but given that a clump of 3 guards together, did you find examples or information on how to effectively simulate crowds? Because that could be.
I did. I
could
just
be tricky.
Didn't get to it.
Didn't get. Okay. Anyone else have questions? Mentors, class people who might end up on this game if it's picked?
So is the goal supposed to be to collect these documents, or going to be to collect guns?
There's like several different objectives. Sometimes the objective will change, so you might need to collect a document, or like steal a letter or something, or you might need to like steal a gun from someone in a crowd, or overhear a conversation being had between 2 AIs. We talked about implementing sort of those different types of objectives. So it'll be kind of like a linear type of progression of events and what's necessary at that time.
So what's the overarching goal? Like, why is the raccoon doing those things?
Oh, to stop the riot, actually.
Oh.
The riot was occurring, between the people in the city that didn't want to, have the soldiers come through, and they didn't want the war. So, you're kind of like trying to stop like everything from going on in Baltimore.
Can you stop the riot?
Can you stop? Well, at the end of the game, assuming that that's the win condition, that you do all the objectives and then you win by the riot doesn't happen. Well, actually, in the actual history, it was like they tried to go through, and then like there were like 2 fatalities or something, and there was kind of a short battle and stuff, but the soldiers didn't end up getting through. So.
Yeah, I think the main thing that we've proven here is that we can get sort of an interaction going between the character and a bunch of AI units, and the next big step would be, can we get AI that we can sort of encounter having like a conversation that would teach us about the history, or an environment that would have a specific event sort of leading up to the mob that that we could focus on. Yeah.
A lot of that will be working with the grad students. Like we'll get a lot more information from that. Or the history
So you could
students.
have the people chatting, and then you just overhear a conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, really cool.
Any other questions?
All right. Thank you. So has Tyler made it yet? No, not yet. All right, so we got everyone for the riot of 1861. No? I count 3 of you. I think you're all here. What do you need? Do you need an adapter or you got the HDMI?
I think there's one on the side.
Alright, so I guess just start talking.
Yeah. Start by introducing your team.
Alright, so we made the riot of 1861. I'm Sam, this is Allison and Adam. You guys can come up if you want. But for our game, while it is majorly in 3D, the main issue that we were going to face would be to create these 3 mini games, one during each sprint. So we made this one as a kind of way to show that we would be able to do that. And so this mini game, you're on the train tracks, of course, and I read somewhere that during the Pratt Street riot, which this is made for, they actually did put an anchor on the train tracks, and it was a big hubbub trying to move it. So in this one, you're trying to keep the anchor off the tracks, but the townspeople are going to be coming in trying to pull it down. But you can throw things at them to kind of deter them and make them disappear. So yes, you get it to move back up by clicking on the anchor, and each time a townsperson gets to it, it drops down.
Just to clarify, you're playing as a character that is with the soldier's side.
Mm-hmm. And basically you just have to hold out until the meter up there gets to the end. If it falls into the tracks before then, the train obviously crashes and you lose. But either way, you'll be kind of shunted back into the 3D environment. It'll just affect the kind of ending you get. So, try it or...
Okay. This is easier with a mouse, but you're simultaneously trying to shoot the townspeople and raise the anchor at the same time. And when they get to you, it lowers the anchor. But you're trying to get you're trying to hold out until the train gets to the end, so that the train can pass through and it doesn't hit the anchor.
So yes, it's a very simple game, but most of them are going to be. There were some problems getting the most recent version. So the artwork is a little outdated, but we'll send you the full version. And I could do a brief description of the other 2 games, but
Yeah, that would be helpful.
okay.
Do you want me to bring up the PowerPoint?
If you want to, but that might take a little bit. I could just talk about it.
Okay.
So, both of the other 2 mini games are going to be. Should I just like stand in front of this?
Yeah, stand right there is fine.
Okay. So they're both going to be top down. The first one is going to be somewhat like Space Invaders, where you're going to have 3 rows of people coming down at different speeds. You will be at the bottom, moving horizontally, and there will be a small row of soldiers in front of you. When the, well, not soldiers, policemen. When the soldiers come down, they will open fire on you, and if you get hit, you die, but if you manage to the soldiers, which you can do by throwing things over the heads of the policemen that are helping you, you win. And the policemen at the bottom are not just your show, they will take 1 hit for you when the soldiers come down, but then after that you're on your own. And the second game is again, top down. It's basically the player just running towards the train, trying to get to it in time before it leaves the station. There will be a few obstacles to avoid, but the main object is to determine, how much stuff you get to keep and how much stuff you get to drop, because you're carrying supplies, but you're carrying too much to make it to the train. So you have to decide, am I going to drop all this stuff here and make it, or how much am I going to keep? And the more stuff that you manage to keep, the better your score. So yeah, you would basically be using the arrow keys to dodge whatever obstacles and make it to the train in time.
So, questions?
In the back.
So it seems like you're trying to do like 3 games within the time frame. Are you concerned that that really doesn't leave you much time, if any, to actually like iterate or refine any of the games that you're working on? So I guess based on what you have after this first 2-week period, is this one at a point where you're comfortable not again, and if not, like your scaling plan? It just seems to me like it would make more sense to try and do less games better than more games and not have any room to tweak or improve.
Yeah, there were some problems, like I said, but with all the assets included, it is pretty much done other than minor tweaking. So I definitely think that we would be able to get it done, seeing as the minigames are rather simplistic. But I do agree that sometimes less is more.
Were you ever actually able to win this challenge?
I'm able to win it with a mouse. It's harder with a little trackpad.
Well, there's probably a mouse up there if you steal one from the computer, perhaps. Or there might be one over on the shelf, too.
Yeah.
Of course, there's no
I think it needs to download drivers or something.
Oh, okay. Never mind. We don't have time for
We
that.
tried.
If there's nothing too special if you win, it just says you win anyways. And I imagine in the main game you would just continue on with the game, and if you lose then it won't let you continue.
Well, either way, it just kind of shoves you back into the 3D stuff. Like I said, it only really determines your ending and like what kind of you get, whether it's like you miss the train and then all of your friends die, or something like that. Something much more pleasant.
So the others of you, have you tried to win and been unsuccessful, or?
I tried, but I'm not good at these kind of games, so I was just like, no.
I think I won a couple times in testing.
Yeah, it's doable.
But definitely,
It's
I mean,
hard.
we can tweak the difficulty, in further on in development.
Are there other questions? Okay. So thank you. Tyler here yet? Still not here. All right. Well, that means our next game is going to be Siggy. And while the Siggy team is setting up, I should also introduce in the back of the room Anna Rubin is a professor in music, and she and one of her students are going to help the winning, or the 2 teams that are going to go forward the rest of the semester with audio and music for your game. So she's here to see them and get ideas.
Hi, I'm Krista, and this is John and Matt.
We did the game Siggy for Signature Theaters. Siggy is the name of the theater's ghost because every good theater is haunted. Some theaters even like to put out a light for their ghost every night. So we figured we would have a ghost, and the point of it is that as a ghost you're trying to cause some trouble. This is the first level, so you're in the lobby, you're getting chased by an usher, and when you haven't picked something up yet, can you die quick?
I die really quick.
Okay, so when you're a ghost, you're transparent, so you can go through all the walls and over them, but as soon as you pick up the thing you're trying to steal, that's solid, so then you can't go through and you have to go through the maze anymore. Right now, because you're stealing a program for whatever the current show would be, and that can swap out as like new shows come into the thing. This is the first level, so the usher is the easiest enemy, and he's first. But whenever you hit him, you lose he steals your item back, and then you have to try to get it back again. They will go faster and have larger hitboxes as the enemies progress in difficulty. Whoa, what happened?
My bad. My bad. I got mad at it.
You got mad at it? And we're hoping that different levels could be different places in the theater, and that the most fun level would hopefully be like the stage, and that you could dress that up with different props depending on what show was currently playing. And whenever you collect items, you'll actually, the like loading screen for the game, whenever you get items, they'll show up in Siggy's little lair, which is here. And then they'll just all stack on the sides and hang off the banister and stuff like that. You guys want to say anything about how you program?
Well, most of the game mechanics are already implemented, so it'd be pretty easy to just add in more levels. Planning on having more different kinds of AI, like it's a Pac-Man-ish like game, so the original Pac-Man apparently had like different AI for different ghosts. So there could be one person trying to guard where you're going to stash the item, one constantly chasing you, one maybe guarding the item itself. And that'll be implemented in the future. It shouldn't take too much, it would just be more art assets.
And they could use the same animation, but skin out the different parts so that instead of it being, here is a little usher, we could have crew, actors, actresses, and then eventually I'm hoping a director, because that would be like the biggest hitbox and would be the fastest.
Yeah.
So this game ultimately wants to be mobile.
Yes.
And I know I told you not to worry about mobile for the prototype, but do you have some ideas of how it would work as a mobile game? Specifically, what your control scheme would be?
Yeah.
Probably like touch and drag, or possibly swipe in a direction.
Yeah, we were thinking either you would have to use a swipe, or maybe there would be some kind of virtual controller, kind of like nothing too fancy. Maybe like a couple buttons on the screen that you could press up, down, left, right, or maybe a little joystick, something like that. Something that we were thinking, if with a swipe your finger could potentially get in the way, so you may not see, an enemy, an usher or someone like that coming for you. So more likely than not, we're going to go with some kind of button scheme.
And right now, since there's only one enemy, that's not that big of a deal. But in later levels, when there's 3 and 4 and 6, okay, maybe not 6, but then it would be that would be more of an issue.
Are there any changes or that you'd want to make in terms of the art, or is this sort of how you envision the
This is
final
not
art?
how I envisioned it. I would prefer to do a little isometric games just so that I can get a little more detailed and it's not just mostly top down. But we had 2 weeks and I wanted to get something done really fast.
also everything's a little cartoonish, which I like for mobile games, but I was given the advice to touch up the aesthetics, but I wasn't given in what direction that they would like it to go. So I was known, okay, don't like make this better, but I didn't know what their view of better was. So if I could hopefully, if this does go on and they give me some pictures of like these are aesthetics that I like, that I can replicate.
Yeah, well, certainly the final games will be able to talk to the clients.
That would be helpful.
Other questions?
I don't have any questions, but for mobile, thinking about this, like that maze is very complicated and tiny, and when you scale it down to fit in this window, you might want simpler mazes. Also, our experience with mobile is that the buttons, people don't really like the buttons because there's no, it's not like a gamepad where you have like actual feedback touching the button. So tap and swipe are the most, like the best kind of controls for mobile devices. Every game that we have made and tested players, we haven't always used tap and swipe, but every single person who goes to play the game, the first thing they do is tap. Every single time.
Okay.
And we're like, like why didn't we do tap?
Okay.
So like that's just a lesson that we've learned, and I would say, see if you can do it with tap. Some first swipe, I want to do like swipe, but you can do drag. And I've seen some games where when you drag, it actually like leaves like a little dotted trail, and then once you lift your finger up, then the character will follow the trail. So it helps with like pathfinding because it just kind of follow your finger. It gives that really cool little visual of following that little dot. So that might work with the maze game.
Okay, thank you.
Well, thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah, just a small note, but like I would suggest maybe a little bit more visual feedback as to when you can go through walls and when you can't. It took me the longest time to realize that the fading in and fading out thing was like a constant thing, so I was like kind of confused.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, if you like either changed like his like appearance, like made him glow, or made the walls like transparent or something like that, could be interesting.
Okay.
Way to go.
Thanks.
That was perfect. Thank you.
I had a little trouble reading the red, but
yeah, that's just there for now.
So it says get to the stash when you pick up the item, but what happens when you get to the stash?
You drop it off.
Okay.
Yeah, you drop it off.
I wasn't sure if you guys got that working.
When you're in the lair, there'll be a little like information where you can learn like what's happening in the game. Just very short, but just a little like, oh, steal the pamphlet, like steal the program for this, steal this prop, and then bring it back.
Okay.
And here I think you steal. Right now it's
Tickets,
unlimited, but you steal. Hopefully in the final game it'll just be like you steal 3 of them and then that level's over.
So isn't it?
Oh, there's 2. Savannah, you go first.
Just another note, the like walls, the edge of the maze are pretty big. Like I thought that he kept going outside the maze when he was like looping around to that little blue thing at first. Just because it looks like it kind of stops because it's dark on the edges. Maybe you have a border or something more distinct than like a faded black background.
Thank you.
Is that what you were going to say as well, or?
I was just nodding along in agreement.
Oh, okay. I meant no, that originally you'd both started speaking and then okay.
Right. Well, thank you. Still no Tyler? All right. I guess that means the show must be played.
You were waiting to use that dad joke all morning, weren't you?
Everyone else had AI.
Okay, we're
doing the show must be played for the signature theater. My name is Jeff Hurd, and this is Edward Tang. And this is what we have to start. Basically, what happens is you get the initial title screen, click on Start, and this will be a mobile game as well. And you start out with the curtains open, as you see, and you get the blank stage. The director there wants to hire people and set his stage before he has his performance. So you click on the menu, and you can choose either auditions or set stage at this point. Rehearsal and the performance are not interactable at this point because you don't have anything to rehearse with or a show to show. So we'll go to auditions first, and it's going to bring up your actors one at a time, and you get a chance to see his audition, see what he does. Click on Start, and he'll run his animation. When you've seen enough, you can hit Stop, and now it'll give you the option if you want to hire him, yes or no. So we're going to click yes, and again you get the next actor that wants to get a job. So again, you click Start, and you can see see her performance. When you're done there, again hit Stop, and now do you want to hire her? Well, we'll go ahead and hire her as well. And then you get the third actor, and we only have 3 actors at this point. Again, you can see his animation as well. And then once you've seen enough, you click Stop, and we don't want to hire him, so we're going to click No. Now, when we go back up to menu, we can set stage, or now we have the option to go to rehearsal because we now have actors to rehearse with. We're going to go ahead and set the stage. Now, ultimately, at this point, I'd like to be able to drag, pick the props from the menu and then place them on the stage where I want them. But right now, I just have them as a static setting. Then we go back into the menu, and now we have rehearsal. It's the only option left. And you see the actors are now placed on stage. And again, as with the props, my thought is, at this point, I'd like to be able to move the actors to specific points on the stage where you want them to perform, or possibly even set some waypoints so that they can move around the stage and flip their direction so they're looking in different directions. And if you notice, it only picked the 2 that we chose to hire. The one that we didn't hire is not there. And once rehearsal's finished, the director's replaced with the audience. Goes back to the curtain, and then your only option now is to go to the performance. So click on the performance. Curtains open up, and we've got our audience watching a performance. At this point, I'd like it to actually time a performance and stop at a point, or even while they're still going, have maybe the audience say some things like "Wow, amazing," or "This was boring," whatever they would like to say. And at that point, it would affect the scoring, which isn't implemented yet. I have no idea. And then once you're done with the show, you just go down to End Show, and it'll take you back to the beginning, so you can start all over. And it resets everything back to the beginning, with the exception of the animation. Whatever position they were in at the end of the performance is the position that they're going to be in when they first appear again. So it doesn't take you back to the beginning of the animation yet. And the thought is to be able to take this premise and build multiple shows over a period of time with a bigger stage, more actors, more props, have some music playing in the background as the performances and the rehearsals go. And the scoring system, I was thinking, somebody pointed out, or the professor pointed out, game dev story as an inspiration idea. And I like the way it did the scoring with the little game icons popping up above their heads. So I was thinking maybe musical notes as they pop up would give scores and up the score on it. But that's just one thought for the scoring system. I'd always take ideas on that. And that's my game so far. Or our game so far. Thoughts? Any questions?
How would the game determine what makes a good show?
That I'm still working on. I'm not sure yet. I'm always, if this one goes past prototype, I'm willing to take ideas. make it a real team effort. Anybody else?
I've seen similar games like this. What they would do would be each actor would have different stats.
I was
and
thinking
the better the stats, the more expensive they would be, the higher. So you have
Yeah.
choices, and then you would get gold after each or money after each performance, with like higher, better actors the next round.
Yeah, that's the primary portion of the scoring system I was thinking that I would like to have is a monetary value to as you hire them, your money goes down, of course, and if you can manage to do you're only limited, the size of your show is limited by how much you currently have, and at the end of the show, hopefully you've made enough to make a bigger show so that you can add more actors and bigger stage. Maybe even buy a bigger set so that you can have more actors on the stage. Of course, they would scale down in size as the stage got bigger so you could add more people. I was also thinking like a reputation mechanic for the scoring as well. As your reputation goes up, it allows you to hire different people than the ones that you might start with. Anybody else?
Maybe bigger audiences as well.
Yeah.
So one thing that this is your start screen, and the first thing is that blue text on the red
Yeah.
is very fuzzy.
Yeah, I had some trouble. I couldn't get it to clear up. I don't know.
It's the colors, like
Okay.
because they're conflicting or they're opposite colors. So when one is on top of the other, you get that like kind of hotness that creates that kind of blurry fuzziness.
I was actually getting that even with the box that it comes that the text box comes with. It comes with a background color on it, whether it was black type on the white background, or it was not bold, or it was bold. It was fuzzy. I couldn't figure that out. Ultimately, I'd like an art asset for that, but I thought of that last night at about 11 o'clock at night, and didn't have much time to ask for an art asset to be made for it. So, but I agree.
So it seems to me like there's a lot of art assets that you would need if you really wanted to have a wide variety of actors and props and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
How long did these how once you get in the rhythm, how long would it take you to say do an actor to the quality that you'd really like them to be?
For one actor with the whole animation in there,
Mm-hmm.
Probably a few hours for one actor at least.
Anyone else? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So I have not seen Tyler come in yet. Well, so there's one more team, civil journalism. Maybe we can have them go, and then if Tyler's still not here, you're gonna have to present without him. And also, I'd like to introduce our other mentors, Barry and Garth, who for Access. Obviously we had to get started before you got here, but I'm recording and streaming these, so you'll be able to watch the ones you missed. All right. Go ahead.
Alright, so our game's called Civil Journalism. My name is Ben Walsh.
I'm Celeste Haskett.
We chose to do a point-and-click investigation style game. So when you first roll into town, you've got a letter from your editor to read.
These are lines from your character. Now that I've arrived, I'd better check my assignment again. You go right into town.
Go to the journal. If you click your assignment letter, you see that your editor has tasked you with finding out what's happened here.
And if you had tried to click on anything before then, it would just tell you to check your assignment.
Alright.
So now you can start investigating things, talking to people.
This is your character. We're going to have actual pictures of the characters up. We didn't manage to put that into the prototype. We do have some art for that. So this is your character saying, hello, could you point me in the direction of the Baltimore Wrecker? Which is...
And then the local responds with, are you one of those Yankees? I won't talk to no Yankee.
I assure you, I'm just here to find what happened recently regarding the troops that came through.
One of them feds, eh? Should have known from the start. Your get-up says it all. We've given him a very pompous outfit to start, and I can show you some pictures we've drawn up later.
He's a top hat. Sir, I assure you, I'm not working for the union. I'm just trying to get a story for the paper.
Trying to fool me, eh? Well, I got no time for Yankees.
Looks like they won't talk to me when I look like an outsider. I'd better find some new attire.
And then there's, you can go to other places here. There's another guy to talk to.
Is it unhelpful? Sir, would you mind pointing me in the direction of the Baltimore Wrecker?
I've made it my business not to talk to stuffy government types.
But sir, please understand, I'm not.
Goodbye.
So not very helpful at this point. Looks like no one will talk to me while I'm wearing my Sunday best. Better find a change of attire if I want to learn anything.
There we
And
go.
you can check your journal at this point. It has an update about the uncooperative locals. If you go back, you notice there was a tailor.
Go in here and talk to the person behind the counter.
Hello, I'm looking for fresh attire.
Of course, why don't you try some of those on the table up front? Then you can click up here, and then you've got your disguise on. You change your clothes. You no longer have the top hat. And then, check out the journal. You got new duds.
You go back out, you talk to people, they have new responses. Howdy, partner, I'm John, a hard-working city boy looking for a job writing news. Any chance there's a place like that in this town? He sees right through me. I knew I should have gotten the wig.
Righty then, boy. You best keep looking. Used to have one of them newspaper places here, but no more.
It's gone? What happened?
They picked the wrong side. Mob ran them out not even a week ago, right after the commotion.
What kind of commotion?
Some soldiers came through and started some trouble. Saw it with my own 2 eyes. Townsfolk out looking around when all of a sudden guns start firing and people start screaming.
That's terrible.
Yep, during Union. We sure did run them out, though. You can go over here and talk to this guy again.
Good day, sir. I'm looking for the Baltimore Wrecker. Any chance you know where it is?
All you did was get a change of clothes. How could I not know it was you?
Sir, please! I'm just looking for the Wrecker so I can get a story for my paper.
Well, why didn't you say so? I don't mind talking to a journalist. My name's Abe Butler.
That's great. So where can I find the Wrecker?
You can. It's gone.
I heard that there had been some shenanigans. Can you tell me what happened?
The owner fled town the other day after the mob.
There was a mob?
Yes, of course there was a mob. How would we have gotten rid of all the soldiers?
Why did you need to get rid of the soldiers?
Soldiers came in walking through town like they owned the place.
How do you chase them out?
Wasn't easy. We got a big mob going and tried intimidating them. At some point or another, guns were going off and people were screaming.
So who started it?
Hard to say. Everything all happened fast. Both sides took shots at the other.
Was anyone hurt?
Got a few dead, in fact. Both sides lost some.
Do you know anyone who would have seen the fight break out? Someone who could tell me who started it?
Well, sure. I wager my good friend Jim Belch would be able to tell you more.
Where can I find him?
Around this time of day, you can usually find him hanging around the pub.
The pub? It's midday!
Every town has its drunkards. If you can find him sober, he'll probably be able to provide more information. So then...
Now you have information, and you have a new lead. So you'll be able to go to new locations and find... What was his name? Jim Belts?
Jim Belts.
Jim Belts? and get different information that you're collecting in the journal. Oh, you also a cat, because it was formerly Kleptocats, and I decided to put in a cat.
Click on it. What a strange feline.
Because why? But now it needs to be a raccoon, so... Yes, it's a cat holding a gun. Alright. And that gives you an idea of the style. Obviously, it's going to be colored, probably still very muted, that old-fashioned kind of look. And we have some, these are lined up for the close-ups. That's your character in his fancy, fancy clothes. And then, that is him as a plain person. Look how regular he is. And we have some of the people you talk to.
The first guy
Person
who
one.
has a very strong accent and dislike for Yankees. And then this is the second guy, Abe Butler.
So. I mean, we're going to incorporate some things we didn't manage to do in the prototype, like mouse over. We want the characters that you can click on, like you can talk to, or doors, whatever, to react. Maybe the character looks at you, or the door creaks open a little bit, so you have a clue that you can actually click on it. And obviously, we're also going to have those close-ups. I'd like to also have some animation with that, so it's a bit more dynamic than just still frames. What do you think of that?
Well, the base of everything is all here. All that really needs to be added is the map, and you can go to other places, and then those other places will function the same as these. You can travel between a few scenes in those places, and you can talk to the people in them. So the groundwork is all there. It's just a matter of adding more of it.
Yeah, we just wanted to show the basic mechanic and the aesthetic, and mainly that it's really story-centric, so it has to have interesting things happening. Otherwise, it would be boring. Any questions?
Do you plan on having it be just text, or did you want to do voiceovers?
I don't want to do voiceovers.
It seems like you kind of did.
It's more interesting. Come on, reading is boring. You can have people talk in accents. It's fun. I mean, they'll also be written down, but yeah.
Yeah, so I think it would be more interesting if you had, even if you did have the text, if you had the voiceover as well. Other questions?
How do you win and can you lose?
The main goal here is to investigate what happened, so you're going to get a lot of information that may or may not be true. People might have seen different things, so at a point, there's no real way to lose. It's more like a story game that you play through until you win by getting more and more information.
Were those 4 panels you showed at the end, were those the what would appear on the screen when they're actually talking?
Yeah, when there's text and when there's talk. Anybody else?
Anyone else? All right, thank you. All right, so I guess that means that the people who are here for Create a Play will have to go without Tyler.
That was cool.
All right. Do you have HDMI or do you need an adapter?
I need an adapter.
If you want it to narrow, you do.
Thank you. Okay. Hi. I'm Sade.
Brandon.
And we're missing one, but our game was Create a Play. We're the 2 artists on the team, and Tyler, who's the programmer, as our game. So we just have our art assets. The premise of the game was that it's a create your own story, like make your own adventure type game where you have a play, there's a bunch of different characters and props to interact with, and depending on how you interact with them, you would get multiple options that would lead you to developing like your own play or your own story. And then depending on what you chose, who you hired, then you would get different endings, and then that would be like the replay value. You would play it to get different endings.
So we have our two set ideas. So this was the main stage, and this is the upper area of the main stage.
We're trying to make it so that we could just showcase that you can go to different areas of the place and interact with multiple objects. So like in this case, you can mess with like people who are working on the stage, interact with them, or like props are on the stage itself. Or you can take a ladder that would have been there, head up to the upper lighting. You can mess around with the lightings, maybe do some aspects that are going on up there, mess with the curtains if you wanted to. Just a couple things to show that you have options and multiple options in the game other than just what's on the stage. Like there's things outside the stage too.
And then we also had plans to have like a hallway where that's where you would select, if you're narrating somebody, you would select your cast members. There'd be a prop room, which is where all the props would be stored. And then when you select ones, they appear on the stage to interact with. Then we had character sketches. So here were two of the possible main cast members. We debated between having characters that looked more realistic and more like
Scrunched down.
more scrunched down, like cuter. We figured that if they looked cuter, it would be better for a mobile game because it would be ideal in a mobile game. And here are just the two by themselves. And then here are just a variety of the props that we started working on. And I'm not sure if all of them got implemented. But so we have like a canvas, and then if you decide to interact with it, it would paint, it would adjust the scene, people would comment on it, would add to the play. It's like a half painted canvas. And then we kind of just reskinned some of the people just so we had more cast members, different props that could be used. The palm tree was we don't understand Unity, and we opened Unity and there was like a palm tree asset, so we decided to add it, which drove the scene we were going to display in the game.
So, I know you're at a bit of a disadvantage since you're missing your programmer who has your runnable game. What state is that game in? What does it do now?
As far as we know, it definitely has the background. We believe it has AI. We have not actually seen the game. We're just going off of what Tyler has told us.
Any
What did you guys use to make the art assets?
For the stage and stuff, I was just working simply in Illustrator to create all the stages and stuff. Sade just hand drew stuff and scanned them in for the moment.
Alright, so you did the stage and then Sade did all the hand-drawn stuff.
Yeah.
Do you intend on having traditional art assets in the final game, or is this just for the prototype?
Well,
this is just for the prototype's sake. Like we just wanted to like quick rough like how things should be or like what should be involved. If this was picked, we would pick like a more unified art theme, and like decide like what to use like all together about what to make.
Do you think you'd prefer for it to be the more clean style of the Illustrator assets, or the more hand-drawn style of the hand-drawn assets? Because you probably would need to go one way or the other with those.
I feel like personally, like hand-drawn, it has a different feel to it. But for a mobile game that would need to be resized, it'd be much more practical to have digital aspects. Like I think it would look a lot cleaner, depending on if it's a phone or a tablet.
So you talked about the replayability, and that makes sense, but did you touch on the win and loss conditions and just getting to the end of the play, or how did you talk about that more?
The game really doesn't have a win and loss. It's like set up like a game like let's say like Stanley Parable. It's set up like a game where you just really play it for the story's sake, just to mess around and see what like kind of different interactions and stuff you can just make happen.
Okay, so it's just a matter of getting to the end and seeing what you can interact with.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really just like having a toy box type thing, just messing around with it.
Can you give us an example of either using a few of those assets or what the player experience would be from that toy box? Just a short example, like what's in your guys' minds? What do you expect the player to experience?
So like if we were to have the lights up in the upper scene, like one of the things you can mess with is like what kind of light would project down. You could just have like traditional lights. You could have like a rave party going on. You could have like crazy like little shape animals like shining down on the cast members or whatever. Just to make like variety of stuff going on.
And that would in turn like affect what the cast members had to say if they were, if they were feeling the lights, if they thought they were ridiculous, and maybe if they wouldn't work in those conditions, then you'd have to convince them to work with you.
Is that all just automated? They just start saying stuff based on this one-time setup?
Based off of the decisions that what you add to the stage, it would alter the options that you have.
Okay.
Yeah, and just to keep things relatively simple, we figured that each option would have like 2 different options, so we don't have a million different branches.
Right.
So either the crew member would be okay with it or not okay with it, and based off of whether you try to appease them by changing it,
Okay,
or
so you can change the experience.
I would think so, yeah.
Okay.
Anyone else? All right, thank you. All right, so that's all of our prototypes. So I'll be consulting with the mentors and the clients over the next couple of days, and on Monday we'll decide. You'll find out which ones are going to be developed for the rest of the semester. So thanks to all of you for your presentations, and I guess